will have Brian Hupp with us, and I'll get them introduced in just a few seconds. So hang tight with us. Jennifer, I think we're Facebook Live. So if you want to kick it off for us tonight, please.
Okay, great, guys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jennifer. I work with the Farmers Co-op in Waldron. I'm just going to turn it over to Christy Keeler. She's our Purina sales rep, and she's going to take it and roll with it.
All right, guys. So once again, we appreciate you guys joining us on our virtual platform. We're getting closer and closer every day to getting out here and being able to do face-to-face meetings. But tonight we are coming live from you outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma at Cunningham, and I'm trying to get him circled over here to get him introduced. Most of you guys remember Todd. He is our Purina Equine specialist that I work with. He comes out and works with us in the field, helps back support me within the Farmers Cooperative locations. And tonight we have Mr. Brian Hupp. Brian is our centralized science account manager. He works with Purina. He brings us all the innovation in regards to supply control. So with that, I'll let you guys take over.
Okay. So we have a couple of really new products that are going to come out, but they are not going to hit the shelf or be in the store until the 1st of April. So we're going to talk about them first, and then we want to talk about the Aquatab while we have Brian here too, so we can talk a little bit about all the supply control that's in them as well. A couple of the things that we want to talk about first, I guess the first one that we want to talk about, we don't have, or I don't have the official bag that it all comes in, but we have the Ration Balancer is what it's going to be. It's called the Mega Match Ration Balancer, which is full of the omega-3s. And so it is going to run in about a 2-pound feeding rate. You can feed up to 6 pounds if you need additional omegas added to it, but 2 pounds is what is recommended. It is a 13.5% protein, the 8.5% fat, and it runs about 1,250 calories per pound. So this product is good for brood mares, like before they have foaled, probably in late gestation, horses that are easy keepers or just low volume feeders that you have either out on grass, or mainly it's designed for horses that are installed, because most of the omegas that horses get come from the grass and horses that are outside. With all the research that we've done on the Omega Ration Balancer, when feeding 2 pounds of this a day, after 11 weeks, they will get the same workup as a horse that has been out on grass the whole time. So that is a pretty good deal and what they thought in research and with Purina. I just got a bag of it last week, and I was starting a couple horses on it to try and see how it feeds, see what it looks like. I put a 30-year-old mare on it to see if it's going to help and improve her any at all. The great thing about this is it is non-GMO, but it is free of soy, wheat, molasses, and alfalfa. So I know a lot of you guys have horses out there that have some sort of an allergy to one of those products, and really we didn't have a whole lot of options of something that you could go to, a feed that was out there that was still balanced with a vitamin and mineral package, and then still had protein and a decent amount of fat, as well as calories. So that is, I guess, the newest, and this won't be on the shelf, or you won't be able to purchase this until after the 1st of April. So the co-op will have it, and it will come in somewhere around that first week, probably of April, maybe the first couple of weeks. But this is going to be a great product for horses that are starts maybe or insulin resistant, or horses that you need additional omegas for, or want to use it for low volume feeders. It will kind of be the same as their Enrich, but you're looking at a whole lot more omegas in this product than anything that is out there. If you want to feed it as a supplement to a feed that you already have or that you're feeding, you can feed the 1 to 2 pound feeding rate on those products too. So that is the Omega Match. and that's the Ration Balancer that is coming out. That's just a few of the highlighted points that I wanted to talk about. The other thing that I just remembered is Biotin. It does have a therapeutic dose of Biotin in that. So when feeding 2 pounds or the 2 pound feeding rate, you get your 15 milligrams of Biotin, which is kind of considered the therapeutic dose. That's about what everything else and all the powders and all of the other pellets that are out there, when you add Biotin, that's kind of the recommended dosage for that as well. And so that is the other great thing in the horse industry, I think, because we didn't have really anything, one other product that was out there that had added Biotin to it. And so, but this product does, it will come in a 40-pound sack is what it'll come in. The other product that I want to talk about and hit on for just a little bit so that we don't bore you and keep you around real long is going to be the ahi flower oil, and it's an omega product as well too. This one is probably one that I'm really excited about. I'm not really a great big oil feeder because I've always fed just a Purina feed that has everything in it already. You've got your proteins, your vitamins and minerals, and your fat that's already there, and some soy oil usually in a lot of the products. So I've never really been big on feeding an oil, but I'm excited about this product here because it does not come from fish or a fish oil. It's 100% plant-based. And so 1 pump of this, it will come in a gallon jug, and then the 28 ounces, I'm sure you guys are used to the smaller jug that has the little reservoir on the side that you squeeze and can fill up to 12 or 24 ounces. It will have, we'll have that comes in the 28 ounces, or it comes in the gallon jug. And it's just 1 pump, basically, is all that it is, or 30 milliliters. And so you can feed up to 60 to 90 if you need additional support. But the great thing about this product is if you have a horse that has some skin problems or skin issues, this is going to help that drastically. The other thing with the omegas in this oil, it helps with reproductive, joint, skin, respiratory, cardiovascular. There's a wide variety of things that this has been tested, and then it does help with. I can tell you that the cost on this product is going to run a little over $1 a day when you feed it at 30 milliliters. If you're going to feed more than that, I guess the more you pump on, every time you hit it, I guess this is going to be about $1, $1.10, somewhere right around there. And that's going to be the cost on this product too. It does have more omegas in this product than when just feeding flaxseed too. That's the other great thing about it. The omega score in this compared to any fish oil, corn oil, or flaxseed is quite a bit higher. So another great product that's coming out. This won't be available until April as well. So those are the 2 newest products that we just hit the shelf with. They are on order through the farmers. They've got them and they're on their way to the stores. They're just not there yet, and they'll show up on price list and be ready to be purchased right after the 1st of April. So now that we've talked about those 2 products, I guess we will set those down unless Christy has anything that she wants to add with
So folks, don't forget, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to drop your questions into that chat box. We'll be monitoring that. If you're catching us on our Facebook live stream, drop those into the comments section. Hi, we did have a question. So in regards to shelf life, so if I buy a gallon of that or the quart,
right.
How long is that going to be good for?
Once it's open, 6 months, right around the 6 month range, depending on temperature, light, and how you store and how you keep it. If you can keep it in kind of a cool place, it will help, but it's about a 6 month shelf life on that product. And then on the Omega Match, the pellet, it will last quite a bit longer than that. It probably will be fine up closer to a year, even on that product. So, but again, that all depends on humidity, because everybody living in the area that's going to be tuning into this, there will be quite a bit of humidity. And so a lot of that will depend upon how you store it and how climate controlled, I guess, you keep that product too.
So the other question that's come in tonight is in regards to the ahi flower oil. Does it have any biotin in that?
Not in the oil. If it does, I haven't been told of that yet. Just the Ration Balancer has the biotin in it, which will come in the pellet form. That's the one that has the biotin, and that'll run at 15 milligrams per the 2 pounds. Will give you your therapeutic dose, I guess, of the biotin per day.
And can we feed this in conjunction with other feeds?
The oil?
The enriched, or I mean the Omega Max, right?
Yes, absolutely. So if you're just needing to add or wanting to add more omegas, maybe to try to decrease inflammation or help with anything else, you can feed this and just add 1 to 2 pounds. If you're feeding it as your sole feed ration and just feeding hay or alfalfa, you need to feed at least the 2 pounds, and you can feed up to 6 pounds of this product to meet your vitamin and mineral requirements.
And we have another question that's come in tonight in regards to feeding senior horses. What type of response have we seen with the ahi flower oil and with the Omega Max Ration Balancer?
So in the oil, what we've seen is a decrease in inflammation. You see a hair coat, a difference in hair coat. They're quite a bit shinier. Like I said, as far as dealing with maybe just older horses, I don't know that we've done just a ton of test work with that yet. I'm doing one with a 30-year-old mare that's actually right behind us right now that is on this. She is stalled, and because she is laminitic as well, she was foundered about 8 years ago, and so she has to stay up, and we have to watch her starch and sugar intake, and we have to kind of watch what she's eating roughage-wise. So I've started her on the Omega Max Ration Balancer too, to see if I can tell a difference in her as well. A lot of the stuff that we've done and the research that we've done has been more geared towards performance horses that are in either from yearlings to probably 7 to 10-year-olds. Other than that, I'm sure that they have done some. I'm just not aware of it at this point.
Perfect. That's all we got so far. So, Brian, do you mind to take it over and let's talk about Clarify, our new Aquatab? I guess we launched in November of last year?
November, that's right.
Yeah, kind of in that off-light season.
Yeah, you know what though? There's a lot of areas of the country that flies year round, so.
Absolutely. We were talking about that tonight on the drive over from here from the hotel, right? Keep it out that flight control year round.
Yeah, anywhere south, you're gonna have flies year round, so it's an issue, so. I'm excited about this new Aquatab with Purina, brand new product with our Clarify feed-through fly control. The whole idea behind Clarify is it is a true feed-through. It is the whole action of Clarify is outside the animal. So we're feeding it through this Aquatab and having it exit out the rear end of the animal where we're going to stop those flies where they start. I don't know. Some people may not know horses. It's about 37 pounds of manure a day is what they produce.
I believe that.
Yeah. And then that equals about 9 tons of manure. So that's a lot of breeding sites for flies, both house flies and stable flies. And those are the 2 flies that we're really going after with Clarify, is the house fly and stable fly. And stable fly being the one that takes blood. Obviously, it takes blood meals, it hurts. Nobody likes to get bit by a stable fly. And the house fly obviously is more of a nuisance fly. Nobody likes to be around, have to do this when they're around horses or around the barn in fear of swallowing a house fly. The other thing about house flies, yes, it's a nuisance, but we also want to think about the fact that house flies are also, they transmit a lot of diseases, up to 65 different diseases and bacteria that house flies can transfer around. So just thinking about the health of a horse, you want to make sure that those house flies, there's a few of them hanging around the feed bucket and hanging out on the feed if possible, where there could be some transfer of some of those diseases. So house flies and stable flies are the main key that we're going after on this. And then the other key with our product being in the tub is a consistent intake, right, Ty? If my product, if the horse doesn't eat that tub with the Clarifly, you're not gonna be happy with flight control. Good thing is we know they're gonna eat that tub, and they like that tub, so. But they're not gonna eat them out of the house at home either, though.
So the average intake on this is about 2 to 2.5 pounds per day. And it will depend on the forage, how the horses are housed, if they're out where they can eat alfalfa or eat grass or hay, or where they're out with enough roughage or forage, they may go to 1 pound a day. And we've seen some of them with an intake of up to 4 pounds a day if they're just bored and don't have anything to do. So the key to this is having it located in the right spot to where it's not where they just stand and hang out all the time. And then also having enough roughage. Sometimes on some of the research, I guess, that we've done, right at the beginning, they may go to it a little more aggressive until after they've been on it, maybe a week, and then they will back off of it a little bit too. But it's interesting that you talk about flies and year-round. Just a week or week and a half ago, it was -15 here. And I was in Hot Springs today at the racetrack working the track down there, and it was freezing and they had snow down there, but there were flies down there already. And they were fly spraying horses and they had them out. And that's just been a week and a half ago that we had that or that we had that cold snap and all that weather. So kind of maybe what's your region, or kind of what are you guys thinking? Anywhere from like south of I-40?
I-40 is always that area that I say is pretty much year round, just because anytime temperatures get above 60, 65 degrees during the day, that's that trigger that triggers flies to come out. So, you can have those in December, you can have them in January, and have them in February. And so you want to make sure that that horse is constantly consuming that, so it's in the manure. So when those flies do come out, they don't start breeding and building a population that gets big. So it's key to keep it in front of them year round and secure I-40 with that.
Yeah. Well, this was 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know that it seemed like it barely got more freezing.
I know, right?
It stayed warm all year round, but I guess you never know. So.
Yeah, weather, every year's a little bit different. Like you said, it's crazy how we've had differences in temperature, so.
Yep. So this product comes in a 55-pound tub and a 125-pound tub, and they do both come with lids. And you probably will not be able to see, but this one has been out in the pasture, and I've had horses on it. But I just wanted to when you first open them up, there is a little bit of difference, because when you first open them up, it will look like just molasses is what it'll look like. And you can't see a lot of the other product in there because it'll just be dark. But once they start licking on it, you see the high fat, the amplified nugget that is in there. Plus, this product does have Outlast in it as well too for gastric support. So it is actually a high fat tub that we did produce, and we've been researching tubs and trying to figure this out now, because we know that there are other companies out there that have had tubs, but the problem with it is consistent intake. That's been the problem with the competitors and the other tubs that are out there. And so we did a lot of research, and we know that we were not the first to market, and we know we were pretty much the last to market, but we wanted to, with Purina, with our research facility and with what we do, we wanted to make sure that it was right, and we weren't just coming to market with a product just because everybody else had one. So that's why we wanted to partner with Central Life Sciences and work with Fly Control, and then also add some Outlast and Amplify to have a high fat tub out there for you guys to purchase and to be able to use, but have the consistent quality and consistent intake.
That's really important. The other important part that I'd like to talk about is, there was a lot of research that went into that tub, as well as obviously the concern of whether Clarify is safe for a horse to eat, right? That was a big concern for a lot of people, especially a pregnant mare. Is Clarify going to have a negative impact on Purina? And Central, in conjunction, did some blood tests and found that zero amount of Clarify in local blood and blood plasma. So it truly is a feed through on that horse that's passing out here to do all this action in the manure and stop those flies from breeding. So real safe, and you can feel confident in the feed.
Yep. So I add it. I keep some, or will throw one in stalls every once in a while if I have a horse that is a hard keeper. I have some with older horses that if I just need additional calories out there a lot of different uses. You can use it for brood mares, you can use it for growing horses, and that are easy keepers that you're just wanting to keep some gastric support, but still yet have a protein and a fat supplement that's to them with vitamin and mineral package as well too. So there are some different uses and some different ways to be able to use it. Just talk to an employee at the Farmers Co-op, or you can get with Christy Keeler, the sales rep for them, or you can get a hold of myself, either one, and we can talk you through some scenarios if you are interested or think this is something that might work. But I highly recommend the tubs. I started on them, I guess, a month ago, and so using quite a few of them around just for additional calories and for them something to do, and to always have some gastric support out there.
So guys, we've had a couple of questions that come through. One of those is how do you control the amount of Clarifly the horse is getting through the Aquatab?
Okay. So this is designed, and I'm not exactly, I can't remember what it's designed for the fed rate for them to ingest enough Clarify to do something. Is it 2 to 3 pounds probably? 2 to 3, yeah. Yep, 2 to 3 pounds.
There's a range in there, but 2 to 3 pounds.
So as long as they're consuming that 2 to 3 pounds, right, in that area, then they are getting enough Clarify to do what it's supposed to do. Now, to justify how much they eat, it will depend on the location as to where it's setting, how much roughage, and how much forage. Of course, if they ingest more than that, I don't know exactly all the tests that were done, but I think they did it with a fed rate of what, over how many times? I can't remember either. I think it was 3 or 4, and everything was still, there were no negative results of that.
Right.
And so 1 to 4 is kind of where they all fell into with all the research that we did, of 1 to 4 pounds. And so if they're consuming the 2 to 2.5 pounds right in there, and up to 3, then they're getting enough of the Clarify. Plus about that 2 pound feeding rate, or also does with the gastric support as well.
So to feed on to that, there was another question dropped in. Is that weight dependent in regards to how much intake that
That's going to be on a roughly 1,000 pound horse. That's what it's figured on, which kind of hits most of the horses that's out there.
Okay, and then we had another one in regards to the Aquatab with Clarify in a pasture with the larger, so the 125 pound tub that you've sitting there in front of you, Ty. How long have the tubs been lasting in the pasture on average?
So that's a good question. So we recommend putting 1 tub out for every 1 to 5 head of horses. Everybody knows that they can be pretty aggressive, and they're a little bit different than a cow. And so we recommend 1 tub to 1 to 5 heads. So if you have more than that, you probably need to put more out, just depending on how many, I guess. But that all depends on the intake. So if you figure the 55 pound tub and they eat 2 pounds a day and you only have 1 horse, there you go, what, 25, 27 days worth there. And then you have the 125 pound tub that you can use as well too, if you want them to last longer. So it just depends. It depends on how many horses, I guess, that are out there, and
You want to get one out?
how often you want to have them out there. The thing about it is you don't really want to run out when you start on the Clarify, and when you start on this product, you want to keep on it, because breaking, I don't know if we want to talk a little bit. I know we're running out at the time.
You want to talk about a little bit about breaking that fly cycle?
Yeah, about the fly cycle and breaking that up, and once you run out, and then takes very many days, and then you can start it over.
Yeah, as soon as you're about 36 hours out, I think, you're not getting any product that's going into the manure, no Clarify. House flies and stable flies are going to lay about 500 eggs in a lifetime. They're alive for 3 to 4 weeks, so you can do the math on that. There's a lot of eggs that are going to be laid, and that's just 1 fly doing that. But if you got hundreds or thousands of them doing that, you can build that population pretty quick if you have untreated manure out there. So we want to make sure we're keeping as much manure treated as we possibly can to keep that fly number low.
So we have a follow-up question. concerned with pellet version. Concern is with pellet version, you know what you're feeding each time and can be consistent. How do you know how much they are getting? So in regards to if we're feeding Clarify through a daily dose
Right.
versus how do we know that we're getting that consistent intake into the horse to have effectiveness from an IGR standpoint?
So obviously, when you do a feed through and it's a stalled horse or a horse that you have pinned up and you're feeding absolutely separate from everything else, you know exactly what they're getting and you know the exact amount that you're getting through there. This is just a product and it's a service, I guess, that's provided that has the added outlap, the amplify, and the clarify that's added to it. And basically, it's just kind of monitoring. You'll be able to tell if they're licking and if they're on it because their nose will get a little bit dirty when they're on it and they're licking into and get into the product. So you're just hoping and that they're consuming 2 pounds. That's why we recommend 1 bucket for 1 to 5 head, because if you don't provide that much space and have enough product out there, then you're going to always have the dominant horse that's out there that's running everything else away. So that's why forage, that's why where it's located, and all of those other things are highly important to know exactly and to monitor the intake and where they're not over consuming. Not that it's going to hurt anything, but it's just also going to be a little bit of wasted money when they do that. Where if you have the right amount of forage, it's located in the right spot, it's not right on top of a water tank or right where they stand all the time, then the intake should be consistent with all the research that we had done. So
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, y'all tested it so heavily. That's why, I mean, there's so much research done on the consumption of it to make sure that they will consume it for flexible reasons as well as the outlap and the other goodies in there. So, but they've tested in every situation, you can imagine.
yeah, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Minnesota, it wasn't just in one location, it was all over. Done research on.
You can feel confident they're gonna eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess I think about it, as we also make some cattle tabs, right? That I think about how many feedings am I gonna get out of this? So this is a 55 pounder. I've got 5 horses out there. Average consumption is 2 pounds. So if we place that tub out, takes us 7 days with 5 horses. That's another way for us to evaluate what our intake is coming off of that.
Do some simple math on it.
Yep, just do some math on that real quick. So,
It's just paying attention, and watching kind of what they eat, how often, and keeping track of how often that you have to put one out.
Brian, we got another great question that's dropped in here. So what is the difference between Clarify and Alpacet?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Clarify is a diflubenzuron active ingredient, whereas Alpacet is a methoprim base. So that's, I guess, the first thing I would say is they're different active ingredients. The other thing is Alpacet is just labeled for horn flies or for pasture cattle. That's if you own cattle, you know that's the most costly external parasite to you as a cattle owner, and that's why Alpacet is focused on that horn fly. Whereas Clarify, it does also get horn flies as well, but horn flies don't lay their eggs in horse manure. So we're really, the 2 flies that we're really going after with Clarify in this horse tub would be a stable fly and a house fly. So those are some of the 2 differences being other than active ingredients. The other thing is I would say, Alpacet has just been the gold standard for horn fly control for pasture cattle. So Clarify has mainly been used in dairies for over a decade now, dairies and feedlots, and now it's gotten into the horse market as well.
So Ty, this is a question back to you. Is the tub a replacement for feed or a supplement?
It depends, I guess is the question of that. If you have an easy keeping horse that is out on pasture or in a dry lot and you're feeding alfalfa, this is basically your feed or your supplement as well too. I use it as a supplement. I feed grain all the horses, and then I use it as a supplement to have added calories. The other thing that I do want to talk about this are these tubs are made like the rest of our horse feed too, in an ionophore-free facility. So it is completely safe, and you don't have to worry about any other drugs that could harm a horse getting into these products, because they are made in an ionophore-free facility like we do with our other products that are out there. But to answer that question, it is both. It can be used as a supplement, or it can be a feed. If you're a 3-day eventer, or you have racehorses that you're training pretty heavily on, there are not going to be enough calories, and they're not going to be able to consume enough of it to ingest enough calories to keep them looking good. But if you're trail riding, right, maybe once a week, twice a week, horses are kicked out on pasture, perfectly fine and a great way to feed your horse.
Guys, I think we got another one. Is there Bryce brand in the tub? Is the other question that has been dropped in tonight.
I would be lying. I don't want to lie to you, and so I would be lying if I told you. So if you have any other questions, I'll look and see if it's on the ingredient list for real time.
And of course, he lost the contact tonight, so we might have to get the reading spectacles out here. So, guys, we appreciate you jumping on. It's been fun. Brian joined us all the way from Kansas City tonight, and so it's been fun, especially with these Aquatabs. I'm excited about them. I know we kind of got them out a little late, and that was on our side because it didn't meet our quality standards,
Better
right?
late than never.
Better late than never. Right.
That's the thing with Purina, they're not gonna put a product out there that doesn't meet the quality standard, and so it was, like I said, it was worth the wait till November.
Absolutely.
They're here, and we're excited about it.
Yeah. It's been fun, especially with these. We've got some placed out in some operations, some horse facilities, and they're loving them. They actually got started in those back in November, and we just constantly keep them out. So did you find anything about that?
Right, Brandon, yeah. It
So,
does have Right, Brandon.
Perfect. So guys, keep on dropping your questions in. I'm going to kind of give you a couple of things real quick. So I know we talked about how do we go and get that $10 off coupon to take into one of your farmer cooperative retail locations. So we've changed it up a little bit. So we want to text Purina, Purina, to 57682. So that's going to be a new number for me to learn this year. That number, once again, is 57682. In the body, type Purina. Then you're going to have to type in a little bit of information, which is your email address and a phone number. It's going to ask you for your name. And then we'll select A for Arkansas. And then tonight's event is labeled as Innovation for Equine Enthusiasts. So with that, folks, that's the way to get your $10 off coupon. Now, we've got a lot of things that we offer at Purina that goes from these little digitagraph coupons that we offer you to feeding demos. So if there is a product that you have not fed of Purina, please feel free to reach out to myself. My cell phone number is listed here, and that is 830-330-0902. So I am the Purina sales specialist that works with Farmers Cooperative. All their 15 locations from Mena, Arkansas, all the way up to Decatur, Arkansas, and then into eastern side of Oklahoma. So with that, Brian, is there any final comments that you would like to make tonight? Besides, there's ginger and grass. We had some rain today. Them flies are showing up, man.
Fly season's here. Yes, it's time to start preparing for flies. Thinking about what you're going to use. And there's a lot of different products we can use for fly control. My company sells some others, so there's no better place to start with your fly control program than putting something in the manure, because flies reproduce at such an alarming rate. You got to stop them there first before you can do anything. So.
Yeah, and to replace some of these and kind of get rid of some misters and such like that has helped to this has helped quite a bit in regards to that. So just helps really break it up. Ty, any final comments that you would like to make?
Don't think so. I've had the Aquatab so far. Super happy with that. Looking forward to seeing the results on the Ahi flower oil and the Omega Match Ration Balancer. And if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to get a hold of Christy or I, and we would be glad to help you with anything that you need or anything nutrition-wise. We want to thank you for using Purina and for tuning in tonight, and hope that you found this beneficial. And if you need anything, don't be afraid to give us a shout out or call.
Right. So folks, I mean, you might see me around. Sometimes Ty pops in and out with me as we're out in the field. But I'm going to tell you, you guys got a wonderful staff that works at every one of these 15 retail locations within Farmers Cooperative. And if they can't answer you, they know how to get a hold of me. So with that, folks, we appreciate you once again. 5768, type in Purina, and then we're going to go A for Arkansas, and then it's going to be Innovation for Equine Enthusiast. So we appreciate you guys joining tonight. Look forward to some more. Oh, yeah, right. I'm glad that you keep me on my toes, all right?
Well, it's so secretive, you forgot about it.
We are so secretive tonight that we forgot about it. So, Ty, you want to let them know about that secret word?
What is it gonna be?
What is it gonna be, right? So, folks, you know, I guess we got Brian here all the way from Kansas City tonight. And I think we're gonna use the secret word, clarify. What do you think about that,
I
Brian?
think that's a great idea.
So, guys, drop into one of your 15 locations of Farmers Cooperative, give them the secret word, clarify. It's going to get you entered in to win this 952 quart igloo cooler that has the Purina logo on it. We're going to allow that to, you got until March the 22nd to get in there and to provide that information to them. Once again, stop in, give them clarify as a secret word, fill out a little slip, and then we will get you entered to win this fabulous cooler. Boat season's coming around, rodeo season's coming around. I mean, what else do we get, right? Absolutely. So I appreciate you reminding me tonight. So team efforts, guys. So we appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on our next meeting.
Thank you, appreciate it.